Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so excited for today's video, but if you're new here, my name is Michelle and I am a full-time Poshmark reseller. I will put all of my links over here. So today, I'm sure you can tell by the title of this video what we're going to be up to, but I have already filmed everything and I'm super excited with how these turned out. It's been a while since I've actually cut up and tried to DIY something myself, but this was a fun experiment and I'm definitely going to do more of them. Without further adu, let's get into it. So we are going to need a pair of scissors, some glue. This is just E6000, very, I don't know, just a really high strength glue. I saw some other DIY YouTubers using this, and so it worked out pretty well for what I needed it for. A metal zipper, mine is already in use, but this one is the heavy jacket zipper. I got a 22-inch, which is probably too long. It was just too long for what I needed it for, but you should take measurements of the item you would like to add a zipper to and get a zipper that works for that. Some bleach. This is just plain old Clorox. A spray bottle of some kind. A big tub, something that you can put bleach in, something you don't mind getting bleach on. And the last thing you're going to need are some gloves and the stuff you want to cut up, and that's it. So the first thing you'll want to do is lay the item completely flat, and you can measure if you want to, but I just tried on the shirts and that's how I figured out how long I wanted to cut them. And then I just sort of cut them without a ruler or anything. I just freehanded it and I cut a line straight across on all of the tops and sweatshirts that I cropped. And then I folded over the fabric each time I cut it to make sure that I was still cutting a straight line and that it was even completely through. And then once it's completely cut across, you are going to stretch it out as much as you can, and then you can continue with any of the other cuts that you want to make. With all of the cuts, you're going to want to make sure that you stretch them out so that it looks a little bit more natural and it doesn't look like it was cut completely by hand, and this will just make the edges look a little bit softer. So I wanted to make a cutout just underneath the neckline, and so I made a small cut in the center and I cut a straight line down, and instead of cutting around the neckline and then making the triangle all at the same time, I cut out one half first, and then I used that half to lay out the other side to make sure that both sides were symmetrical. And then once it's cut, I completely stretched it out as much as I could. And again, this is just so that it looks a little bit more natural and not such a raw edge. And then I just continued cutting all over the shirt in all of the areas that I wanted small little cutouts, and I just made small cuts with the scissors. There's really no wrong way to do this. You just cut and stretch and cut and stretch, and you just continue that process on all of the areas you want to cut out. So I just made a small cut, and then I would put my finger through the hole, or I would just stretch it out a little bit. And I just continue doing that. I could cut out small bits of the neckline again, and I just kept cutting until I felt comfortable with how it looked. If you don't feel super creative and you don't know where exactly you should be cutting, you could definitely take inspiration from something that you find on Google or on Poshmark or on any other platform. Just search distressed t-shirts or cutout t-shirt, and you'll get some ideas that way. So once I'm done with all the cuts, I wanted to make sure that at least for this shirt, that I folded over the sleeves, and I wanted it to look like the sleeves were cuffed. So I just folded over the seam and I put one small line of glue at both the top and the bottom, and then I folded it over and stretched it out and let that dry. I did the same thing on the other side, and it was just 2 small dots of glue. And when you're ready to actually bleach the shirts and actually color them, you should test out a small bit of the bleach on fabric that's already been cut. Bleach can appear orange, gray, or just white. It depends on the top or the color of the shirt that you're using. So once you're ready to bleach the shirt, you're just going to take your spray bottle, fill it with the bleach, and then lay the shirt out on a flat surface. But I put some cardboard on the inside just to make sure that the bleach that I did on the front wouldn't completely seep through on the back. And I covered the surface I was working on, which was just my kitchen table at the time. This next step is actually optional, but when you want the color to stop changing and you're happy with how it's coming out, you should rinse it in cold water to stop the bleach from activating. And so I let it dry out, and I actually wasn't 100% happy with how it was looking, so I actually continued to bleach a little bit more once it was dry, and then I didn't rinse it after that, and this created sort of like a layered effect, and you can see that in the final product. For the Ninja Turtles sweatshirt, it was already a light gray color, and I knew that it was going to come out like either a little bit orange or a little bit pink and mostly just white. So I was careful to spray in areas that I wanted it to look a little bit lighter, but I wasn't sure 100% if it was going to come out orange or if it was going to come out gray, because on the test fabric it did a little bit of both. But I'm actually really happy with how it came out. I didn't make any of the smaller cuts, I just cropped the bottom, and then I sprayed a lot on the sleeves and on around the neckline and the hem of the shirt. The Rolling Stones shirt was actually already a little bit distressed when I picked it up, and so I wanted to make sure that it looked like really grungy. And so I sprayed a lot on this one, and after I sprayed it and I rinsed it and I let it dry, I actually went back a second time and I did a little bit more, and I like how that looked. I'm really pleased with how it came out. On this yellow tee, I didn't actually get a chance to cut it before I was ready to bleach it, so I just went ahead and made all of the cuts right there on the table I was bleaching everything, and I did the same thing that I did earlier. I made all of the cuts, stretched them out each time, and I cut along the neckline so that it looked a little bit distressed there as well. For this one, I actually wanted something more like a dip dye effect so that it was kind of like an ombre, and I did this with one of the other shirts, and I filled the tub just part of the way with warm water, and then I just kind of eyeballed an amount of bleach to pour in, and I left it sitting there for about 15 minutes or so. So with this sweatshirt, I wanted to add a zipper to it and I wanted to crop it. So I ran the scissors along the line where I thought that I would be cutting, just to kind of give myself a good guide to use for the straight line. And then I cut straight across. And then again, I folded over the material so that I knew I was cutting in a straight line. And then once I made the cut, I again stretched it out completely. The zipper was actually a little bit too long for the cropped hoodie, and so I had to mark where I was going to cut it, and then when I cut off the top part of the zipper, I removed the top stopper, which was my mistake. Once I had the zipper all laid out and where I wanted it placed, I put the glue directly onto the zipper rail, and then I pressed the hoodie back down onto the zipper, but leaving a little bit of space for the zipper to go up and down, and so you can see the rail of the black part of the zipper, and you can see that in the close-up here. And it is a size large, so it was a little bit big on me, but this is the final product. So while I was letting the zipper and the glue dry on the hoodie, I went back to the yellow shirt and I lifted it slightly out of the solution so that the bottom part of the shirt would continue to get lighter. And I did the same thing with another top, which you'll see in a bit. But then I went and took it out, I let it dry, and then I went back and I sprayed a little bit on the top of the shoulders and the back of the shirt. And then with this Budweiser tee, I really wasn't sure what to do with it. I really liked the graphic, but it did have some sort of dark gray underarm stains, and so I really just bleached the entire thing. I sprayed the entire shirt with bleach. It did have a couple of marks on it already, so I thought that maybe just bleaching it would maybe discolor it, or it would, you know, make it change color in general, but it didn't. It actually just stayed totally white and it got the stains out, so that's good. But I actually kind of just like it as is, so I decided not to do anything other than make it whiter. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed doing it. It was really fun, and yeah, it was so fun. I'm definitely gonna do more. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, do all of that fun stuff. Leave me a comment, let me know which one is your favorite, and if you're gonna try this yourself. Okay, I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.